This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Gunned down. A man is dead and a suspect is at large after a fatal shooting in Amherst.
Where's the beef? A CBC News investigation finds grocery chains are still overcharging for underweight meat.
And healthy relationships. Nova Scotia aims to expand a youth-based violence program province-wide.
Keep the umbrella handy. More showers on tap overnight into Wednesday, and then again Thursday into Friday. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. A 41-year-old man is dead after a shooting outside an Amherst shelter Monday night. Police say the shooting was targeted and there's no threat to public safety.
The victim has not yet been identified, but the suspect is still at large, and police are asking anyone with information to come forward. The CBC's Luke Ettinger reports.
Amherst police are investigating a deadly shooting outside the town's emergency shelter. A dark-colored SUV approached the 41-year-old victim on Prince Arthur Street downtown just before 7 p.m.
The victim turned and looked and saw the people coming, started to run, and a male got out of the vehicle with what appeared to be a long gun and shot the victim. The victim fell down and the vehicle sped off.
Pike says an emergency alert wasn't needed because the shooting was targeted. He says there are at least 2 suspects. When asked if police knew their identity,
I can't comment on that right now, but we do have an awful lot of information that we've been provided with, and we're following up on that information as this investigation proceeds.
In a statement, the Cumberland Homelessness and Housing Support Association says no staff or shelter guests were involved in the shooting. The shelter remained closed Tuesday, but the association says supports are in place for those impacted. The owner of a neighboring restaurant says there have been issues relating to violence and substance use since the shelter opened in 2024.
Recently, with the shooting, it doesn't surprise me at all. I'm just shocked it didn't happen before.
Gauguin says a staff member witnessed the incident on Monday evening. She says she's reported issues with the shelter to police in the past. Chief Pike says he couldn't comment on whether the shooting was related to drugs, only that it was targeted. He expected investigators to wrap up on the scene Tuesday, allowing the shelter to resume services. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Luke Ettinger, CBC News, Amherst.
The case of 2 teenage hockey players landed in a Truro courtroom this afternoon. The pair are facing charges of sexual assault, and sexual assault with a weapon. The CBC's Blair Rhodes reports.
These are very serious charges.
Crown Prosecutor Patrick Young introduced a new set of charges against the pair, replacing the charges police laid when the case first made headlines back in February. The alleged offenses date back to October of last year and involve members of a youth hockey team in the Truro area. Both of the accused were 14 at the time. They are now charged together, meaning that if the case does proceed to trial, there will likely be 1 trial, not 2. The new charges also eliminate some of the details that were contained in the original information, which described the weapon used in one of the sexual assaults as a miniature hockey stick.
That's a decision that the police make based on the evidence and the information that they had at the time. Subsequently, they've decided to charge both of them together and to change some of the language. So having reviewed those informations and the replacement information, I'm satisfied the replacement information is appropriate.
Young says now that the matter is before the courts, it would be inappropriate for him to comment further on the evidence. The courtroom was packed with spectators for the brief appearance. One of the accused teens attended court with a parent. The other was represented by his lawyer on the phone. The matter returns here to youth court on May 25th. Blair Rhodes, CBC News, Truro.
There is a new political landscape in this country. The sweep of all 3 federal by-elections Monday night solidifies control for the federal Liberals. With wins in Toronto and Quebec, the Liberals now have 174 seats in Parliament. It means the Carney government has the power to shut down debate and push through its agenda without the support of opposition parties. They went into the by-elections just 1 seat shy of a majority thanks to 5 MPs who crossed the floor. One of them was Nova Scotia's Chris d'Entremont, who says he didn't see himself in a Liberal majority a year ago.
No, not at all. I think we're always hopeful that we're going to be making government. But a year ago, we were getting ready for our election, or just in the middle of our election. Talking about what was important for West Nova or Acadianapolis.
The victories give the Carney government the first majority in 7 years. Carney is also just the 14th prime minister to lead a majority.
And with us now to talk weather is Ryan Snoddon.
Boy, it was nice to have some warmer temperatures and some sunshine for a bit.
Yeah, that awesome combination of warm temps and sunshine can be tough to achieve in the month of April, but we certainly did get there in many spots today. The western half of the province in particular, that's where the sun really popped out today. 20 degrees at Shelburne, 19 at Western Head. Temperatures notably cooler here in the northeast thanks to that onshore flow, though at least we did see the sun breaking through there. Clouds still a little bit heavy there, but we are looking at heavier cloud cover back to the west. And this is the next system that's going to be rolling in, holding hands with a frontal boundary that will stretch through and across the province over the next few days. That's going to keep our umbrellas at the ready as we work our way through tonight. Yes, this rain will track through, even the risk for a rumble of thunder in the southwest tonight. We're going to be tracking that as it works its way out throughout Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon, just kind of cloudy, isolated showers, especially in through eastern areas, and temperatures notably cooler across the board on Wednesday, as we look ahead to Thursday, a cloudier start to the day. We've got some showers tracking in and the wind shifting to southeasterly. And again, looking at seasonal temperatures for Thursday, and it looks like this frontal boundary will then stall across the region, bringing us more showers for Friday. So it's a good thing those April showers will bring Mayflowers coming.
They better. Okay.
Exactly.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Well, there's something fishy about meat pricing at two of Canada's top grocers. A CBC News investigation has found some stores, including a couple in the Halifax area, are overcharging for underweight meat. And it comes a year after they promised to address the same problem. Sophia Harris reports.
Karen Weber has a beef. Last year, she bought 4 beef briskets at her local Loblaw-owned superstore in the Halifax area. Turns out they were all underweight. She says a store manager promised to fix the problem. But this year, she bought 4 more briskets, and they too were underweight.
I would have to say I was pissed. Every single package was off. Every single package.
Total calculated overcharge for this year's purchase? $2.58.
Food prices have gone astronomically high for people. They can't be making extra money off of packaging.
Weighing the meats. 1 year ago, CBC uncovered several Loblaw and Sobeys-owned stores selling misweighed meat, which appeared to have been weighed and priced with the packaging, a federal violation. Grocery giant Sobeys and Loblaw said they took steps to tackle the problem.
Let's try one of these.
But 1 year later, CBC uncovered more misweighed meat, like the beef briskets at some Loblaw-owned superstores in the Halifax area. At Sobeys-affiliated stores, CBC found underweight poultry at 2 Safeways and at Thrifty Foods in North Vancouver, plus underweight organic chicken at 2 Farm Boys in the Toronto region. Calculated overcharges range between 2 and 17%.
Obviously, these retail stores are not to be trusted, that the weight on the package is accurate. It's costing the Canadian public millions of dollars each year.
That is 412 grams.
This former inspector with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency says the food regulator needs to step up inspections.
They need to be out protecting the consumer from food fraud.
The CFIA says it's committed to protecting Canadians and that it stepped up meat weight inspections following CBC's investigation last year. Loblaw and Sobeys declined on-camera interviews, but in an email, Loblaw apologized for the misweighed beef briskets and said that it has reviewed protocols with staff. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
Halifax is not moving ahead with a tool that would require affordable housing units in new buildings. It's for now. Today, municipal staff brought a report on inclusionary zoning to Regional Council about 3 years after it was requested. Staff say a recent study showed that requiring affordable units does not work for high-rise projects, which face the highest building costs and slimmest profit margins. It also raised issues on how the move could slow housing development and drive up rents. The tool would also mean hiring new city staff to manage the units and make sure they remained affordable.
We've been waiting so long for this, and I was looking forward to it. We have future growth nodes out there that we were really hoping we could get inclusionary zoning in. And then the kick in the gut was like the economics just don't work. The staff resources just aren't there. The province isn't supportive of what we're trying to do, so they're not going to do it. So we have to stand up a whole new agency if we want to go ahead and do this.
Staff say the door remains open to inclusionary zoning in the future if market conditions change.
The town of Truro approved its budget for 2026-27. Commercial and residential tax rates will remain the same. About 4 out of 5 homeowners have capped assessments. The town's mayor admits capped assessments are a concern for new home buyers, but says capped ratepayers would panic if the cap was removed.
Most people, if they feel that they want a capped assessment, we hear other things that it's not fair because the town could lower the tax rate. But to be honest with you, I don't know whether a lot of people would believe that, and that's straight up.
Water rates will also remain the same. A rate study will be initiated this year as operating costs are being outpaced.
Graduates in Nova Scotia no longer need to reapply annually to keep their student loans interest-free after an update by the provincial government. Graduates previously had to reapply each year to confirm they were still eligible. The province says the change will reduce paperwork and will make it easier for graduates to pay down their loans. Interest on Nova Scotia student loans was eliminated in 2014.
Well, from consent to conflict resolution, a program called Healthy Relationships for Youth is expanding across Nova Scotia schools.
It uses peer-to-peer mentoring to tackle tough topics like gender-based violence. Alex Guy has that story.
A program that teaches youth everything from emotional regulation and consent to gender-based violence has been expanded to 20 schools over the last 2 years. While some are celebrating this progress, there's still a long way to go. Healthy Relationships for Youth started in 2006 by the Antigonish Women's Centre and Sexual Assault Resource Association for schools in the Strait Regional Centre for Education. 2 years ago, the association received government funding to begin expanding. Ava Connors and Kingston States are both peer facilitators for the program at a high school in Halifax. A teacher is still in the room with them to help or answer questions. Connors says this program is just as important for grade 12 facilitators as it is for the grade 9s they teach.
It's just like the repeat of the same information, and it really sticks in your brain, and it makes you want to perform what you learned in your own relationships and bring it to the real world.
The program is spread out across 10 sessions. Topics range from social media and relationships with yourself to consent and violence. The peer facilitated aspect creates connections across grade levels.
The start of, I believe it was week 8, where it touches on sexual violence. I feel like that's that's what's happening the most for our age group right now, I believe. I feel like it's something that a lot of people have dealt with already or have heard of.
And the sessions aren't just about healthy relationships between romantic partners. The program also speaks about how to have relationships with family and friends. It's up to the schools and their respective regional centers for education to take on the program. Although it's in 20 schools already, the process has been slow going. The Mass Casualty Commission put in its recommendations to have a province-wide curriculum like what this program provides.
And in some regions, the RCs are saying absolutely not, we don't want external programming. And so they're not giving that choice to the schools.
The program also digs deeper into recognizing different forms of violence in different relationships.
So it's not only just how to recognize and identify it, but also how to support somebody that might be going through it.
Jones says there's a societal expectation for people to know how to navigate these topics without the conversation ever taking place.
It really does start with teaching these fundamental core skills of consent and boundaries and communication and conflict resolution, and understanding actually how to do that in a safe and healthy capacity is just something that we need to see as we start actually doing the prevention work for things like gender-based violence and intimate partner violence.
The Women's Center in Antigonish hopes to see the program in all 80 high schools with grade 9 to 12 students. Alex Guy, CBC News, Halifax.
Pretty nice looking night out there. Ryan is up next with full weather forecast. Do stick around.
Oh, nice day today, and some big temperature numbers on the board there on the map we saw earlier with Ryan, a 20.
I
Wow.
know, but just don't look too far ahead, right?
No, that's right. We're going to be looking at a cool down, no doubt, but still seasonal temperatures over the next couple of days and riding right into the weekend, but plenty of shower activity as well. No showers out there right now. Have a look at this.
Beauty.
Sure
Beautiful
is
shot.
nice, isn't it? Wow.
Nova Scotia webcams with this live shot from Lunenburg, and you can notice the grass even greening up a little bit.
Our lawns are the same way.
Yeah, both in the foreground and the golf course across the way there. It's it's looking pretty nice indeed. Looking a little more spring-like every day. Days like this are going to help, but it's actually just 9 in Lunenburg right now, 18 in Shelburne, and 17 in Kedzie, 14 in Halifax. Temperatures anywhere from 5 in Cheticamp to 9 in through Sydney and Ingonish Beach. So yeah, definitely a variable spring day out there temperature-wise, which is, you know, par for the course this time of year. It's all about that wind direction. And as we look at the winds, they've generally been light this afternoon after those stronger northerly winds earlier. And as we look at the satellite and radar picture, you can see the clouds. They were a little capped across the eastern parts of the mainland this afternoon. And now we're looking at some higher cloud cover starting to fan its way in ahead of this system, which will track in a hurry tonight. Periods of rain, even the risk for a thunderstorm tonight as that tracks through. And note this frontal boundary stretching all the way down to the U.S. South, dividing the very, very warm air across the southeast right now to the cooler air across the U.S. Northwest and across Canada actually not doing too bad. Regina up to 18 this afternoon. Edmonton's just at 5, 8 in Vancouver, 7 in Winnipeg, and you can see Toronto tapping into this warmer stuff at 19. Halifax, as we said, currently at 13. Now, as we look at the outlook for tonight, temperatures right around the 5 to 8 range for the mainland, notably cooler across Cape Breton, where temperatures will drop to around 1. Could even see some wet snow mixing in for you folks over the highlands. And that rumble of thunder possibility does arrive. It's the rain arriving pretty much around midnight and into the early, the wee hours of the overnight. As you can see, temperatures again, still fairly mild through this event. As we work our way into Wednesday morning, the best chance of the rain hanging out is going to be Cape Breton and across eastern and central areas. It looks like a pretty quick clear out Wednesday morning across the west, and then eventually to the metro area, clearing out throughout that commute time. And it does look like those showers will likely linger across eastern parts of the mainland and Cape Breton right into the lunch hour into the early afternoon. Wednesday afternoon itself, especially for the commute home and into Wednesday evening, looking pretty quiet. Clouds certainly capped here, and the potential for a couple of isolated showers. Note the wind direction here from the east, and so that's why temperatures are going to struggle along the Atlantic coastline. Will be warmest away from that onshore flow. Could see 7, 8, maybe even 9-degree temperatures for places like Inverness tomorrow, depending on how quickly that rain clears away in the afternoon, giving us the opportunity to warm up. Looking at 3 degrees in Canso, 7 degrees in Antigonish, and across that Northumberland shore, likely in that 7 to 9 range for the most part. We'll see a potential for some double digits in and around the Cobequid Bay area. It's an onshore flow for Metro, and the fog patches will likely linger right into mid-morning, so it will take some time to even get to around 6, 7 degrees as we work our way throughout the day, kind of steady near that mark in those onshore winds right down the south shore as well. And it'll take some time, but should get up to around, as we said, 10, 11, 12 degrees in through the western parts of the valley into Digby County. Here comes our next system. Thursday afternoon, the potential for some showers, but it looks like a greater risk into the evening and overnight. Some sunshine potentially in the morning here. Cautiously optimistic about that, and it does look like temperatures will range. Once again, it's a southeast wind on Thursday, so the warmest temperatures will be along the Northumberland shore and along the Bay of Fundy and in through the Annapolis Valley. Next system is looking set for Friday. This frontal boundary is just stalled overhead. It was expected to be a bit further to the south. Now it looks like it's going to hang out throughout Friday, bringing showers. Should see some clearing as it works its way to the south on Saturday, and then a better chance for some showers as we work our way into Sunday afternoon and evening as that system arrives into Monday, and then some perhaps cooler temperatures next week. But until then, not doing too bad, riding the seasonal mark.
Yeah, lots going on. Okay, thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, Prince Edward Island is rich with fossils from the Permian period, roughly 290 million years ago.
Children frequently lead the hunt on the annual Fossil Day, which has become a vital training ground for the island's youngest explorers. Have a look.
I would dig all the sand, and then if I find a fossil, I'll take it out.
I'm Laura McNeil, and today we are here at Fossil Day 2026, our third annual, held at the Charlottetown Library. Today at Fossil Day, we have lots of really amazing fossils on display, some that are even making waves in paleontology. But there's also lots of fun activities they can partake in, like find a fossil, see if they can, figure out what's rock and what's fossil, as well as a fun trackway making station. We have a coloring station, and the public library has also put together a couple of little craft stations as well.
But we got to pick up some fossils.
Okay. And what about you? What else did you get to do?
We got to get these. I can't remember what dinosaurs these are called, and we got them, and it's a stuffed.
A lot of people don't realize that we can find fossils here in PEI. Actually, being an islander growing up here, I thought we were just some big block of sandstone. But now that there's a lot more awareness in the last decade, there's more people looking for them, and it's really resulted in a big surge of really scientifically important discoveries.
PEI is the only place in all of Canada where there's a record of life on land from a period called the Permian. This is the period of geologic time just before the dinosaurs. Most discoveries are not made by people with fancy degrees like me. They're made by especially children, because children are observant, they're on the ground, they're outside a lot. So keep your eyes peeled. If it looks like a footprint, if it looks like a plant fossil, a fern, it probably is.
And thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate it. And enjoy your toy dinosaurs.
They're actually stuffies.
Sorry.
Stuffies.
Coming up, Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont comments on the Liberals snagging a majority after winning 3 by-elections. Welcome back. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that starting next week, there will be a temporary suspension of the federal fuel tax.
The news came on the heels of a Liberal sweep of Monday's 3 by-elections, which clinched a majority for the party. Ashley Burke has the details from Ottawa.
The Prime Minister taking a victory lap after winning in overtime. Carney with Finland's president after scoring a majority government almost a year after the general election. Last night, Canadians elected 3 Liberal MPs, 2 from ridings in Toronto.
Tonight, we celebrate a new beginning.
Another celebrating a victory in a tight Quebec race in Terrebonne. These by-elections combine with 5 MPs who joined the Liberals from opposition parties, how Carney transformed a minority into a majority.
Voters placed their trust in Canada's new government's plan.
Carney kicking off this new era with a temporary tax cut into Labor Day, a 10 cents per litre discount on gas, and 4 cents on diesel fuel.
Because of the war with Iran, fuel prices have increased sharply around the world, including right here in Canada. So we're taking more action to help.
It's one item on some Canadians' wish lists.
Well, I think the most pressing issue right now is perhaps lowering the gas taxes to help. I mean, everybody feels that.
I want to see, a better housing market. I want to see, grocery prices going down.
I would like to see a little bit more, I think, aggressiveness or towards what Trump is doing right now.
Carney says the first thing he's doing is addressing the cost of living while building up the economy. A majority means he can pass legislation faster and change how committees run.
Showboating. We're going to have less of that. We're going to have more substance.
The Conservatives say this majority means Carney can't keep accusing them of obstruction.
Absolute power comes with absolute responsibility. They will actually have to get things done. They will have to do so without blaming others.
The Prime Minister shut down speculation he could still call an election or shuffle his cabinet. Instead, Mark Carney said that his government is focused on releasing its next steps in the spring economic statement on April 28th. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
More on this, we're joined by Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont, who was the first Conservative MP to make the switch to the Liberals. So starting off, what do you make of last night's results? 3 out of 3 for the Liberals. What does that say about the mood of the electorate?
Well, I mean, I think the Toronto ones were, pre-known. I mean, those were very strong Liberal ridings. So the outcome of those ones were, I think expected. The Terrebonne one is the one that's interesting to make sure to see what kind of win that would be. Tatiana, of course, has been a very good MP during her time in the House of Commons. But it shows where the electorate is in Quebec. And Quebec tends to be, especially in Terrebonne, tends to be more Bloc Québécois, more Quebec focused. And I think in this case, it shows that, Mark Carney and Mark Carney's message is emanating very well in Quebec. His popularity there is quite good. And, team that up with a good member of parliament or good candidate, it comes up with a good result.
All right, going back a year ago, did you ever imagine being an MP in a Liberal majority?
No, not at all. I think we're always hopeful that we're going to be making government. But a year ago, we were getting ready for our election, or just in the middle of our election. Talking about what was important for West Nova or Acadianapolis, as it had been recalled. Talking about fisheries issues and talking about wharf issues and those kinds of things. So no, I didn't figure I would be in a Liberal majority government. But at the same time, the issues that I fought for back then really haven't changed.
Now, some, including your former leader, Pierre Poilievre, are calling floor crossers traitors who are ditching democracy for what they're calling dirty backroom deals. What do you say to Canadians who voted for you and the other floor crossers under different party banners?
Well, ultimately, we vote for individuals. We don't vote for parties on the ballot, and quite honestly, even here in the House of Commons, parties are mentioned as government and official opposition. They don't talk about the parties themselves. So at the end of the day, this is one of those things where I think we should be a little less partisan and actually find ways to work together. And when you're in a caucus that does not want to work with the government and push forward the issues that are important for your community, you have to find mechanisms and ways. And in my particular case, I felt it was important to join the government caucus so that I can get things done in my riding. But also, you know, the stage that we're at here in Canada, that Canada is at a crossroads, especially with our partnership with the U.S., that we had to find ways to make it stronger. We had to be, you know, we had to put Canada first, and that's what I felt I did at that time.
Well, tell us a bit about how the Liberals convinced you to be the first to join their ranks.
Well, ultimately, I think it was not unknown during the summer that I was unhappy at the election result. I was unhappy with the leader at the time of how they were able to not win government. And it started with a few conversations with people like Cody Boyce and, you know, Wayne Long and a number of different MPs that were on the government side. It wasn't something that would have crossed my mind back in the summer. But as the fall came in and I saw no change with the leadership or the direction that the Conservative Party was taking, and I had to find a way to represent my riding, and the only way to do it was to join the government.
Now, there are rumblings of as many as 9 more possible floor crossings. What can you tell us about that? And are you chatting with any of them?
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, that's some speculation at this point. I mean, I'm talking to other members of parliament and people that are, of course, in the opposition caucus. And a lot of times the conversation revolves around how I'm being treated, what kind of input that I have in decision making, those kinds of things, how it is working at home, those kinds of things. And I hope that it helps them make a decision one way or another. But I don't expect 9. I mean, that 9 I think is hopeful, but there still could be a couple more. I mean, sometimes in rumor there is some truth.
Well, where does this whole situation leave Mr. Poilievre, who at one point looked like he would be the prime minister with a majority government?
Well, I mean, I've said this before, where that party is going to have to look inside and make its own decisions. You know, I'm not going to criticize it more than I have in the past. That I don't think he's right for Canada at this point. We need to be able to work together, and we need to stop the personal attacks that seem to be, you know, the way that opposition continues to operate. And it's not just within the leader, but it's within people that are around him.
Now, the Liberal convention was last weekend. What was it like being there and taking the stage?
Well, I think it was super positive. I didn't know how it would be accepted by Liberals across the country, but very positive, very upbeat. You know, and even to the point where, you know, in the discussions that we had, I think we mentioned the opposition once. There was one speech that might have mentioned the words Pierre Poilievre. You know, we're talking about what's good for Canada. We're talking about the programs that we want to bring forward, the things that we want to do to make it stronger. And I really liked being a part of that kind of discussion rather than the beat me down or beat the government down and try to find ways to make people look bad. And I just like the positivity of it.
All right, we will leave it there. Chris D'Entremont, thank you very much for your time.
Have a great day. Thanks, Amy.
Coming up, Israeli and Lebanese officials have historic talks in Washington after Beirut tries to recover from a missile barrage.
And it's been a decade since BC declared its drug epidemic a public health emergency, and drug-related deaths are still high. Welcome back. Israel and Lebanon are holding direct talks aimed at stopping the fighting between Israeli forces and the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon.
The fighting began during the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran, and the fragile ceasefire may not hold if these hostilities don't come to an end. Chris Brown has more from Lebanon's capital.
In Washington, Israel and Lebanon may be talking peace, but in Beirut, they're still digging for the dead as the war between Israel and Hezbollah rages.
Israel make a fire on this building.
An Israeli rocket hit right next to Ahmed Zanedin's store and his apartment across the street.
I have a son, 2 years old. When he hear a small voice or anything, he put his hand on her ears. Very scared.
Health authorities here say Israel's massive attack that lasted just 10 minutes killed more than 350 people. And Lebanon continues to reel in the aftermath.
Inshallah. Sabah al-Kurdi was among the more than 1,000 injured. Her legs were shredded by fragments from an Israeli missile. So as not to re-traumatize her, we agreed not to show her face. The shockwave hit me in a way I know I will never fully overcome, she said.
It is somehow depressive, devastating. We're drained.
Hezbollah invited the media to see a site where it says Israeli missiles killed innocent people, including 19-year-old student Abbas Khaireddin. His father, Mohammed, told us the teen had no weapons, nothing, and Israel never provides any evidence for their crimes. Israel says the attacks were directed at Hezbollah headquarters and infrastructure. I asked prominent Hezbollah politician Hussein al-Hajj Hassan what peace with Israel looks like to him. He said dignity and pride cannot discriminate, implying Lebanese people are being robbed of both. There was no time for a follow-up, though, because of a sound every Lebanese knows by heart. The high-pitched whine of an Israeli drone flying overhead. It quickly broke up the gathering. Chris Brown, CBC News, Beirut.
U.S. President Donald Trump says a second round of talks to end the wider war with Iran could happen within the next 2 days in Pakistan. American warships are now patrolling the waters off the Iranian coast south of the Strait of Hormuz. It is the first full day of the U.S. blockade of ships entering and exiting Iranian ports. U.S. Central Command has said that so far no ships have made it past the U.S. blockade, and 6 merchant vessels have complied with orders to turn around.
Authorities in southeastern Turkey say 16 people have been wounded in a school shooting. A warning to our viewers that some may find the images disturbing. Officials say the assailant was a former student who used a shotgun in the attack. A witness said he opened fire in the schoolyard before entering the building. Authorities say the teen had no prior criminal record and killed himself when police tried to apprehend him. 10 of the injured were students, 4 were teachers, and 1 was a school employee. A police officer was also wounded.
Physicians in Newfoundland are speaking out against cuts to a federal program that provides health care for refugees. They say the changes will reduce access to care and increase future health costs. The CBC's Mark Quinn has a story.
The goal is that the federal government realizes that there's widespread opposition to these cuts. They're really targeting the most vulnerable people in our population.
St. John's is one of 9 cities across Canada where physicians held a national day of action. They're opposing changes to the interim federal health program. It currently pays for health care for refugees before they're eligible for provincial coverage. Under the changes, refugees will be required to pay 30% of the costs of dental care, vision care, mental health counseling, and a $4 copayment for each prescription.
So this amount, given that most newcomer refugees are living in less than ideal financial situations, is really going to make a lot of these services unavailable.
Doctors at this event are calling on everyone to write letters to their MPs, telling them that these cuts are unacceptable. They say it's unfair to refugees and it means a further erosion of a universal healthcare system that strives to provide care to everyone in Canada equally.
This is something that, as a future provider, I'm really passionate about. I see refugees and already how many barriers they have to access to healthcare, and this is something that we really want to be a part of to stop these cuts.
Second-year medical school student Maria Salib helps at a MUN Medical School clinic for refugees. She says the cuts will harm refugees and cost the healthcare system more.
We have a lot of robust studies showing that when we introduce co-pays, this reduces people's ability to fill their prescriptions and then increases hospitalizations and ER visits, which is something that we already in Newfoundland, we know that we're struggling with. No beds and also a lot of ER wait times.
In February, a federal parliamentary budget officer reported the annual cost of the program grew from $226 million to $896 million over the past 5 years. Changes to the program are scheduled to come into effect May 1st. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
A grim anniversary is being marked in British Columbia. It's been 10 years since the province declared its toxic drug epidemic a public health emergency. A designation triggers a series of measures meant to save lives. But as Yasmin Renea reports, the number of people dying in BC from drugs like fentanyl remains tragically high.
This was one of the last pictures that I took of Liam. And
Mother's Day 2022 was the last time Janet Milbrat saw her son Liam.
And we had a hug and I said, you know, love you, be good. He goes, love you too, Ma.
The 26-year-old was found dead alone in his apartment just days later after an overdose.
He wanted help. I think he would have eventually sought it out. He didn't get a chance.
Liam is one of more than 18,000 British Columbians killed by toxic drugs since 2016 when the province declared a public health emergency.
I would say there have been some successes.
BC's health minister says the province has tried many things over the decade to save lives, including expanding addiction treatment services and providing uncontaminated drugs to some users. She says some initiatives like opening up more detox beds were more effective than others.
And it's important for all of us to learn and to try new tools, to listen to the experts and take their advice and recommendations, but make public policy decisions too in the context of the society that we're living in.
The government walked back some initiatives as a result of public pushback and safety concerns. For example, it did not extend the decriminalization pilot project, which made it legal for adults to carry small amounts of hard drugs. It also tightened the rules for its safer supply program.
It is very frustrating. It's also, I think,
some drug policy experts worry the province is leaning more on public opinion than on science to inform policy.
Public disorder was there before decriminalization, it was there during decriminalization, and it is there now after decriminalization. So I fundamentally reject the claims that decriminalization failed.
10 years on, BC's health minister says she doesn't know when the public health emergency might end. More people have access to treatment than ever before, with the government expanding services province-wide in recent years. Deaths are slightly down, but still, on average, 5 people die of overdoses every day in BC. Yasmin Renea, CBC News, Vancouver.
A Saskatoon teen who has juvenile Parkinson's has received life-changing out-of-province brain surgery. As Bonnie Allen reports, it's helped him regain his ability to walk and talk.
17-year-old Joey Shake is back on his feet doing what he loves. It's quite a transformation from just last year when he spent most of his time in a wheelchair and could barely speak.
I feel like 10 times better.
We first started to notice that there was something wrong with Joey when he was 5 years old.
Joey's mom says in kindergarten he kept falling down and stopped writing his name. At the age of 8, he was diagnosed with a rare form of juvenile Parkinson's. Eventually, medication wasn't enough to stop the disease's progression. So in October, they flew to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto for a 14-hour procedure called deep brain stimulation surgery.
And deep brain stimulation is a type of a pacemaker to the brain. And by delivering tiny amount of electricity, you can improve the motor function of an individual.
There are only a handful of pediatric surgeries of this kind performed each month in Canada.
I do think that there's a lot of children across Canada that might benefit from it and not getting it. Again, because there's not enough expertise in this field, and a lot of families are challenged by traveling.
Joey spent a month in Toronto, and while the surgery was covered, the travel and other expenses were not. As a single mother, Julie Johnson works several jobs to pay for out-of-province care. All worth it, she says.
They had him running down the hallways, and I've never seen Joey run like that, right? Like since he was like 5 years old. And for Joey, it was incredible.
Now he's playing on a basketball team, writing, and talking.
My best friend said he can actually have a full-on conversation with me.
It's hard as a parent to watch your kids struggling, to losing friendships, but he's really starting to see a future.
He doesn't take that future for granted, or his mother's sacrifices.
You are the best, and I'm happy you're my mom.
Bonnie Allen, CBC News.
Canada's main stock index rose more than 200 points on Tuesday, helped by gains in the technology sector. U.S. markets also climbed. Here's a look at the numbers as we head to break. Yeah, we had a peek on Lunenburg there earlier tonight. Yeah. It's a nice evening out there.
And the grass we were also talking about growing.
We'll be cutting it soon, right?
Yeah, soon enough. Yeah, for sure. It is greening up, which is great. And the showers over the next few days are going to help. And if you're thinking, oh, haven't we had enough? You know, the Canadian Drought Monitor did update a few days ago. It's as of March 31st. That's where they cut off, and then it takes them a few days to crunch the data. Still in a moderate drought as of March 31st for the Valley and right down through Keji to the South Shore. Basically that western half or western third of the province. So we do need the wet weather.
That's true.
But it is definitely flowing. The water is across parts of the province as we zoom in on a beautiful spot. This is Wentworth Falls. And yeah, nice to see the falls with some water flowing down.
Lots there, yeah.
Yeah, Brian Wambach with this great picture. Thanks to Brian. Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. So indeed, some showers on tap for tonight and rain, in fact, and then that rain tapering to a chance for showers under just cloudy skies for Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures quite variable. Easterly winds are the name of the game, so the warmest temperatures are going to be away from those onshore easterly winds, where we'll get into the 9 to 12 range. Thursday, a southeast flow. So again, cooler at the Atlantic coast, milder towards the northern parts of the province. Some sun possible early in the day, then those showers building in from the west. There's the first round coming through, and it's this frontal boundary that's basically, we have these series of lows running through this front that's moving through, and there is the next round, which will come in on Friday. We'll hope that we can see some sunshine this weekend.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right, thanks so much. Well, she's known as the Grand Dame to the zookeepers in Berlin, and this week the gorilla, Fatou, turns 69.
The elderly ape is believed to be the world's oldest lowland gorilla. She no longer has any teeth, so her food needs to be soft and easy to chew, such as cooked vegetables.
Zoo officials say Fatou has some health issues, but she takes it in stride. She's also known to boss both young apes and keepers around. In the wild, gorillas typically live only to be 30 or 35 years of age.
The zoo says a healthy diet and some good genes is her secret to aging gracefully, much like her human cousins.
Yeah,
how true.
Good for
her.
her.
For sure, yeah. That's it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.